It hasn't started that quickly in weeks.
Everybody knows I'm
It's your chance for your glamour shot cameo, Don.
Turn the third mic off for now.
What?
I turned the third mic off for now. Mr. Brown,
What you doing there, brother, man?
how are you?
Good to see you. Doing good.
Thanks for being here.
Ain't no problem. Where we sit at?
There's an extra chair for later on.
Huh?
There's an extra stool that later on I'm going to use.
Okay.
You got 30 seconds. The sweet spot on the mic is right in the top. Just talk right into it.
Gotcha.
Keep it at the angle. So have fun. Enjoy the show.
All right. Thank you.
Don, you're like less than 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Autosportradio.com 2019 show. I'm your host, Don Kay. We are live from McGilvery Speedway at 30th and High School in the beautiful town of Speedway, Indiana. Want to make mention of a couple of items. First off, I got to tell you that the program is brought to you as always by the Honda and Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the IndyCar Series, and SVRA. A couple things to mention real quick. It was announced today that NTT has joined the IndyCar Series as a title sponsor. Now, if you don't know who NTT is, and I certainly don't either, they're a communications company. They do an annual job, a business of about $110 billion. So it's a pretty good size operation, and they have joined as a title sponsor, and they signed a multi-year contract, so they'll be around for a while. Want to remind you also that on Friday and Saturday, this coming Friday and Saturday, the 18th and 19th, is a memorabilia show out at the Clarion Hotel. It's west of Speedway on Crawfordsville Road, just past 465 under the viaduct. So Friday afternoon, I think it starts around 5 or 5:30, something like 5. And then, of course, Saturday they'll be there all day. Come on, we'll talk about that in a little bit. And also here at McGilvery's on Saturday night, the Chili Bowl will be here. Be shown on most all the televisions in-house. If you want to reserve a table, you better talk to the lovely young lady in pink and reserve yourself a table. And McGilvery's will be putting on their very famous and delicious chili buffet. So you want to make sure you stop by and watch. And, of course, you don't forget that one of the participants, hopefully you'll be running on Friday, is Connor Daly. On the 26th, the next Speaker Series event will take place at the Grant King Shops at 8155 Crawfordsville Road, and the guest will be IMS historian Mr. Donald Davidson. The doors open at 5:30. That's a $25 admission, but you get food, and with any luck, Bill's mother will make cookies. So you want to get down there and enjoy. And my guest next week, one of my guests, if you read the announcement on the new sponsorship and how NTT got together, you'll notice the bottom line is one of the guys who was very important in putting the program together is Mark Sibla, who has now been moved up and elevated to being the IndyCar Chief of Staff super guy. He'll be here next week, Mark Sibla. If you haven't seen him, you want to take time and see him. My first guest is a young man that I have had on here several times, but since he has kids and they're of age to be athletic, he's been coaching for the last couple of years. But now I guess he's turned him over to bigger hands and he's available to make it. Only one thing I need to say about this man. He's a 3-time Top Fuel NHRA World Champion. Please welcome Mr. Antron Brown.
Thank you. Thank you. It's always good to be here, Don.
Long time
Always.
no see.
I know. Well, you know what the bad part is? They don't tell you in the fine print when you sign up for your kids to help out. And then sudden they call you up and say, you're going to be the head coach. You know what I mean? One of those types of deals. That's what I got into. And then the bad part of it is that I signed up to help out my older son and my youngest son team and ended up being the head coach for both of them. Okay? And then flying back and forth, coming home, and race season start. It was crazy. Everybody had to help it. My wife was coaching. Some of my friends were coaching. Some of the crew guys were coaching. Some of the fat boys at the shop were coaching. They never even know how to play basketball, football, or basketball, or baseball, but they all learned how to play real quick. Real quick.
Well, I got to assume your kids have inherited something because you were an outstanding athlete. You were a sprinter and a broad jumper. You got a scholarship, athletic scholarship to Long Island University, where you were a very accomplished sprinter. Strange thing is, you see this? When I was in high school, now when I ran, you ran 110 meters.
Yeah, well, we ran 100 meters.
100,
you ran 100 yards.
100 yards.
That's
Yeah,
my
there's a
grandpa.
big difference.
I know. My grandpa was a runner. I remember that. 100
Yeah.
yards.
Yeah, I ran, and the best. I had a girlfriend, and her father. She used to break. My dad was a sprinter. He did 9.9. I said, I'm going to beat that so and so, and I did. I ran 9.7 one time.
See that? That's
So
fast.
I was a broad jumper as well. Broad jump 26.2 or something was my best jump.
Uh-huh.
Not in this figure. It was much younger, thinner. A shot putter and a high jumper.
See, you're an athlete.
I loved track. I loved it.
See, I played every sport. I played basketball, football, and ran track. And I played baseball up to 9th grade. Once those kids started throwing those fastballs and they started going over 75 mile an hour, they couldn't control it. And one almost hit me in the head and some kid hit me in the shoulder. I was like, I'm done. I'm done. Like, you know what I mean? Like in 9th grade, that's when I converted over to track and field. But I played a lot of sports. I just wasn't tall enough or big enough to go to that next level, but I was quick enough to go to the next level running track and field. It don't make a difference what size you are, of course,
Right.
you know, but I love basketball and football.
Now you got involved in racing. Your father was a drag racer, and you worked on the cars when you were young, very young actually.
Oh, yeah.
You put your milk bottle down, and they take you out there and start working on cars. And you started racing, and then your cousin, Troy,
Yep.
wanted to start a motorcycle team, and you drove for him
Yep.
for a while. What prompted you to get off of 2 wheels and go into 4?
You know, growing up and you're around the sport of NHRA drag racing, my dad brought me to the track at a very early age. Like when I remember distinctly, I grew up in New Jersey. So I grew up in South Jersey, grew up right near Englishtown. Summer Nationals were our big race that we have every year. And I remember in 1986, I was 10 years old, and my dad took me out to my first national event race because I understood what was going on. Because I've been to all their races, but he wanted to take me to the big boys, right? So I said, Dad, what's the big boys? He goes, oh, you wait till you check this out, son. Wait till you see this. I never forget Big Daddy Don Garlett slid his car up, did the burnout, backed up. He took off, and like it shook my whole body. I was like, what is this? And it got my eye. And from that day forward, I said, that is what I'm going to do one day. I don't care what it takes. If I don't have to race it for a living. I just wanted to drive one. You know what I mean? I just wanted to drive a top fuel, funny car, anything with nitro. But I wouldn't drive a nitro motorcycle. Them people are actually ain't got no mind. They're nuts. You know, and anytime you lay your body over something that blows up, like, you know, I'm crazy, but I ain't stupid. There's a difference. You get what I mean? It's a difference. I tell people that all the time. But the craziest part is what, Don, I like to share with you and everybody here and all the listeners out there. A lot of people always ask things like, well, what made you want to race? Do what you do, right? Well, a lot of people don't realize the background I came from is that not just the racing end of it, but my family, we owned a septic tank business and an excavating business. So the funniest part of it is that my grandpa, like, he did that a long time ago because he was poor. He came from a big family. He had like 8 siblings. And then basically his family was from Pensacola, Florida. They moved up to the north, up there in New Jersey area. And his dad had a little nightclub or whatever it is, and like BB King and all them used to come and play in a little bar area and stuff like that. And then my grandpa grew up. They grew up poor, like they had nothing. You know what I mean? And my grandma worked at General Motors. Together, they saved up their salary. Then my grandpa said, "I'm gonna start my own business." So he started. Back then, it was mud pumpers. They had big old mud pumper, right? And they went and pumped out cesspools, which were cinder blocks and stuff like that. And then he literally said he was going to give his children everything that he wished he would have had when he was a kid. So my dad and uncle got to grow up. First Honda motorcycles that came in the country, my dad and uncle had them, driving up down the street. When other kids was getting bicycles, my dad and uncle got motorcycles. My dad's first car, he's the oldest boy. Like, he got his driver's license. My grandpa bought him a brand new 1968 Barracuda for his first car, right? My uncle, he got an 8-year-old Corvette for his first car. He got a 62 Vet for his first car, and they still got their same cars since they were, their first cars in high school. Well, this is the funniest part. My grandpa buys them these cars, and the next thing you know, the policemen are bringing them back to the house in the back seat of cars without their cars, and said, "Mr. Brown, I need to come talk to you about your boys." And my grandpa goes, "Where's their cars at? What's going on?" They were street racing over here on the back road, on the back country road over here behind the prison, and they bet me that if I could beat them, if they would have beat me, they'd get off the hook. But I ended up beating them, so they're in trouble. So I got their cars confiscated and had to bring them home. So my grandpa looked at him and goes, I don't know what my grandpa was expecting. I was like, if you buy your kids those types of cars, you think they're going to drive them 30 miles an hour? Right? So that's where the racing gene really started in the family. And then my grandpa said, if we're going to race, we're going to do it the right way. So then what he did was they built the old school Vega and made it into a drag car. And they built a little 355 small block, and Grumpy Jenkins, the Grump, built their first drag racing engine for him. And that's where my family got into racing. And when I was born, I'm the youngest of all the grandchildren. Okay, my brother's 6 years older than me. My cousin, she's 2 years older than me. And when I grew up, I had nothing but cars and vehicles. And I tell my uncle and my dad to this day, they said, "AB, why you smile all the time? Why you sign everybody's autographs? Why you talk to everybody?" I looked back at my uncle and my dad. I said, "Pop, Dad, I want to be number one on the racetrack." I said, I learned a long time ago, if I could work hard and stay out here, I ain't got to be like both of you. I don't want to be number one in the number two business. You get what I mean? So that's why I work so hard. And I don't take one day for granted. I give it all I got each and every day because I know it's waiting for me.
What's it like to be approached, and you are a lot, because when I go to the drag race, I watch, I hang around, just see. And when you come out of your trailer, the fans just mob to you. What's it like to be a popular driver that people want to be with, want to talk to, want an autograph from?
It's a true blessing. But the thing about it is that I think a lot of people resonate with people who are just them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be like nobody. This is me 24/7 all the time, and my wife could attest to it because she's annoyed at me every time. She says, "How can somebody be happy 24/7? It ain't possible." And then she looks at me every morning. She goes, "It is, and it's sickening." That's what she tells me every time. No, but I just like to have fun with what I do. I give it all I got. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a jokester all the time, but when I put that race helmet on, it's game day for me. It's like I'm probably more serious than anybody else out there, and I put the work in Monday through Friday too. Like, I work out. Like, literally, I'm leaving here, and I gotta go to the gym. I gotta be at the gym by 8 o'clock because I do athletic training at 8 o'clock. So I do different types of training all day long, and when race season comes, I put the work in. So I guess it's a mutual respect of what I do on the racetrack, but also the kind of person I am because I'm just normal. I don't know. I don't do anything different. I talk to everybody like ain't nothing going on and crack jokes, and they're like, "Man, you just like you appear." I was like, ain't no other way to be. I don't know how to be any other way.
What's it like when you are at the racetrack? Do you pay any attention to who you're racing? Does it matter to you who's in the other lane?
No. Not. I mean, to be honest, a lot of people will say, well, I'm racing such and such, so I'm going to do this. Well, I'm going to race this. I'm going to hold off because they're late on the start line, so I'm going to take it easy. Or I do this. I just give them all the same treatment. I pretend like I haven't eaten for like 7 days, and that's lunch money right there. And they're trying to steal my lunch money. And I don't want them to steal my lunch money because I want to eat. No, but I give them all the same treatment where I just hit it. I do everything as hard as I can each and every time. So when I go away from it, I don't go, man, I wish I would have did that. I do everything with no regrets. I'm all in every time.
In addition to physically training, do these, what do you call, sim type things where you can react to the light, does that help you? Do you do that?
That helps. I mean, like the reaction time, we have reaction time trees like simulators that simulate us leaving the start line. But what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of people can cut a good light when everything's quiet. But what do you do when it's noisy or you have distractions? So the best thing for me to do is I'll wait till all my kids get home and I start practicing my practice tree. And you hear them in the background, Dad, can you do this? I hit the tree. And then my wife goes like this. She goes, you got so good at zoning us out. I said, baby, that's why I became a good drag racer. When I was able to do that, it made me at the top of my game. No, joking aside, you just practice. We put time in, and the more you do it is when you're able to do it without thinking about it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like walking. You ever know how you drive home from work some days, and you got so much stuff on your mind, you just pull up in your driveway, don't even realize how you got home? You actually did it with your unconscious mind. And a professor told me this one time. He goes, when you train or you prepare for something so much where you do it over and over again, you could do it without even thinking about it. And that's what I try to do. I try to train myself so much where when I get in that car, I'm just reacting and I'm doing it with it. Like I'm not, because in our cars, if you think about something, it's too late.
Yeah.
You got to remember, we accelerate from 0 to 100 in 0.8 of a second. In like 3.7 seconds, we're over 330 miles an hour. So you're talking about you're traveling 330 feet per second almost. It's not right. But the thing about it is you got to be able to like, all right, this happened. I don't go, oh, it's going to the wall. I got to turn. No, you're like, and you don't even realize how much you turn and how much you correct that car. We turn our cars in 1,000 feet in 3.7 seconds more than a NASCAR driver turns around the whole race course.
You know, the greatest thing I think that got people's attention is when they put the camera up behind you. When you're sitting and you're going this way, you don't see the car steer.
Oh,
But now when they did that, people went, wow, they do drive the cars. Yeah, you do.
And you can see the good ones from the bad ones.
Yep.
The good ones kind of stay like this, and the bad ones are like this. And the bad ones, when you look behind you, like when you're a crew chief, and the crew chiefs will tell you this. They got some of the crew chiefs have been out there for a while and see some of their drivers. They're like this. Oh, and they get scared or nervous because the cars is happening so fast. And when you start over driving them, man, they start getting really, really sketchy. That's why you saw a few cars upside down this year because of that.
How much different, and it's going to be huge, obviously, but you're on a motorcycle, and when you were driving driving them, they're fast.
Oh yeah.
But a top fuel car is much faster. Could you appreciate the speed of a motorcycle than you got on top fuel when you're going 2.5 times faster? Mm-hmm. Is it more difficult to drive to do that, or was it for you? It seemed like a very simple transition.
Everybody says that all the time because they don't understand
I'm sorry.
But the thing about it is that this is what a lot of people didn't realize. I raced motorcycles for 10 years. That's all I ever did since I was a kid. If I did the other transition, it would be very hard to go from a car to a motorcycle, of course.
Sure.
But the craziest part that is to try to explain to everybody is that when I went to Top Fuel, the reason why I looked so seamless is because I didn't have to learn how to race again, if that makes sense to you. Like, I didn't have to learn how to stage the car. I knew how to stage it. You know, you hit the same beams each time. I didn't have to worry about racing, like learning racing strategy. Like, all right, this guy likes to stage last all the time. So do I stage first or I make him stage last and play a game with him? Like, I understood all that already because I've been out there for so long, and I was such a fan of the sport. I already knew a lot of the competitors I was going to race against in top fuel because they were my heroes and I watched them. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, Dixon likes to do this. Oh, yeah. Oh, I know Tony. Oh, Tony likes to stick it in there really quick. You know, so I already knew their characteristics where I knew how I wasn't going to throw my game off. You know, so the transition racing-wise wasn't a big transition, but getting used to the rate of acceleration. Oh my! I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. The first time I was able to take the car down track and make a full pass because we do it in stages. We just didn't get in there and go full boogie. And I went down the track and I shut off at 1,000 feet. And I forget, I went like a 452 because we were a quarter mile at the time. Only at 308 mile an hour. And I got in the track. And all the guys rushed up to me. Goes, AB, how'd that feel? How'd that feel? My eyes were like this big. And I couldn't say nothing. And I was just speechless, sitting there like this in the car. Like, I literally said, what in the hell just happened? And I was like, what did I just go through? Because my body literally felt like it went through trauma. Like I went through a car accident. But I was still alive. I have no broken limbs. Because it shocks your system that fast. When you step on the gas, you go, ugh, it feels like somebody hit you. And then when you're going down a track, it's like somebody's just crunching you, pushing you back, pushing you back, pushing you back, and you're like, and it feels like you're about to pass out. Right when you're about to pass out, you shut off the gas pedal and everything comes back. And I'm like, what just happened to me? And that literally said, Don literally go, do I really want to do this? I literally said that, but then once you get used to it, it slows down. Everything slows down. I come back and talk to you for 30 minutes on a 3-second run, tell you what bump I felt, how the engine felt, if it got lean. I could tell if it misfired, if we dropped a hole. I could tell you all kind of stuff that happens going down a racetrack.
My next question was, what can you tell the team? Do they have a computer that monitors everything, or do they come to you and say, what did you feel? What did you sense?
Yes, believe it or not, for like all the tech heads out there and gear heads, we monitor over 80 channels of data on that race car when we come back. I mean, literally from a wheelie bar load cells sensor, front wheel load cells, front wheel speed, rear axle, clutch slippage, EGTs, pan pressure. We measure the manifold pressure. We have G meters. We measure like our management, our fuel pressure, how much fuel we got coming, and then how much fuel we're bypassing. And we look at all this stuff because the problem with a top fuel car is that something goes wrong every lap. Very seldom we have something that doesn't go wrong. And it's not about, like a lot of people go, well, what it takes to be a crew chief? Well, the best way to describe a crew chief on our team, a crew chief has to be a doctor. They have to be able to look at all the data and diagnose what the problem is and how to fix it. It's not just like, okay, the weather's like this, the track's this good, we're going to put this gasket on it, give it this much ignition, give it this much fuel, and give it this much compression, and we're going to go out there and run low ET. Well, we all have automatic configurers that gives us all the tune-up stuff like that. But the thing about it is that what makes them great is how they diagnose the problem, makes the car better. Because you come back, you throw a piston or you kick a rod out the engine because you blew it up because it was overtuned. You got to figure out how to fix it so it doesn't blow up. Because I don't like catching on fire. You know, that's why I don't drive no funny car. Everybody goes, why don't you drive a funny car, AB? I say, I don't know about that. Them boys are crazy. They sit they got the bomb sitting right in front of them.
Yeah.
And have you had Matt Hagen on your show yet?
No.
Have you seen him on TV?
Yeah.
You know he's not right. Right? Right? So I'm just letting you know, like, I got common sense. Okay? Like, I tell him every day, AB, get in there. I said, brother, let me tell you all something. I said, I ain't getting no fun. Y'all catch on fire all the time. I said, once y'all catch up to my complexion, then I might think about driving one. But till then, you ain't going to catch me in one. I'm just joking.
Now, I started our conversation when I saw you at the PRI show, and with you was a young lady, Angel, and you said she's here looking for a ride. And I see she put a program together with Vance and Hines.
Yes. That's.
Will she be around town?
She will. She's actually coming in town on Wednesday. Tomorrow she's flying in.
Will she be here when the season starts? Will she be
Well,
living here? Or?
No, she doesn't live here. She lives in Louisiana, but she's coming in to get fitted for the motorcycle.
Yeah.
I think it's a 4 or 5 race deal that they're doing. I don't know all the particulars, like everything about it, but it's a cool deal where if everything goes right, then hopefully she does well enough and everything meshes well with the Vance 9 team and her, where they can go on and race the whole year, because that's pretty special. I never thought I'd see her on the Harley, but for her to team up and be on the Harley, that's something, man. When you got a good-looking chick on a Harley, how much better does it get than that, right? Lord have mercy. Hey, you know that's why my wife's her cousin, right?
That's
Right.
what I was going to say. I said, "What are you doing hanging around with him?" She said, "I have to. He's married to my cousin." I said, "Oh."
Absolutely. I'm in the family. Like I looked at her. She looked at me one day. I said, no. And then I saw her cousin, and I was down there at Billy Joe. We all met each other around the same time I first started racing, and it was hilarious. It's a hilarious story. They took me to Louisiana. They took this New Jersey kid to Louisiana, to New Orleans, like 30 miles. They live 30 miles south of New Orleans. Like, I grew up in a very rural area in New Jersey, that country land, just like I live out in Pittsburgh now, because I live in Pittsburgh. And it was funny, but they took me down to Louisiana. That was swamp land. like I ain't talking about rural. I'm talking about ain't nothing out there but alligators. And they got oversized rats they call nutras. I said, that ain't nothing but a big rat. That's a nutra. I'm like, ain't no nutra, that's a rat. You know what I mean? So it's hilarious. I went down there, and I saw things that people should not see. And I saw people do things that they eat anything and everything down there. They eat raccoons. They eat those nutras. They eat them rats. They eat anything that walks, squawks, squeals. I don't care what it is. Like, they came up here. I got to tell you this one story. This is hilarious. Y'all enjoy this one. So my in-laws come up from Louisiana. Okay, my in-laws, all right? So when they come up, they come in a Suburban. To give you a story, they come in a Suburban, and they have a luggage rack on the top of the Suburban, and it's all filled up with luggage on the whole top because the whole inside the Suburban is filled with people. They don't come up like 2 or 3 at a time. They come up 8 or 10, right? So then they get to the house. So they unload and everything else, right? So they're here for the U.S. Nationals. They're big race fans, right? So I got them living in my detached garage, like my pole barn, and some of them living in my house, some in my basement. They're all over the place. So the craziest part of it is, we got a pond up in the front. You see all the big geese fly in and the duck fly in, right? And boy, I got up in the morning one day for breakfast. I'm looking, every single one of them jokers stay at the mirror, like in the window, in my front window, like it's a tornado coming. They're like this. Everybody's quiet. I'm like, what's wrong? And they talk just like this. Gaw, you see all them geese out there, Holmes? You see all them duck? He goes, can we hunt them? I'm like, no, man, you can't hunt my geese or my duck. Let them live. They want to go out there and shoot them. That's what they did. I said, that's why they don't flock down south no more. They live up here. They was ready to kill them.
That would probably be a delicacy. They don't see them that many.
Yeah, man, they saw them geese and everything else. They duck hunt. They do all kind of hunting down there.
So you had to build a new house so you could get all the relatives in at one time.
Yes, I did. Yeah. No, I actually built my new house so I can have my own workshop at my house. Because I used to rent a big shop in Brownsburg. Because my kids race junior dragsters. So my kids race too.
Oh, really?
All 3 of them race. And you don't want to see me at a racetrack. I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I don't know which direction I'm going in. And when the cars don't win, I get blamed for everything.
That's only right.
Yeah, my son goes, if I had a crew chief, I might be able to win a race. That's what my son says to me all the time.
So what are they driving?
They race a junior dragster. They race 790 class, my son and my daughter. And my youngest son just moved up to 890. So he went from 1190 to 890. And but they do fairly well. My son Anson, in 2016, he was the 10 to 12-year-old world champion in the Midwest Junior Super Series. So he did really good. So he's doing good. And he talks a lot of junk. But the good part is that I love them racing because it teaches them life lessons. And they have to work on their own car. They change their own oil. They prep their own tires. I make them work on their race cars. So my daughter my daughter, she could change her own tires on her car, change her own oil. She can work on her own stuff. She has to wash it, clean it, everything. Because she drives now. She drives a real car now, too. So it's hilarious. Yeah, my daughter's 17 now. She's killing me. Oh, Lord, she's killing me. Yeah.
I assume that along with racing and working on your cars, you got to get good grades in school.
Oh, that's a must. That's first. That's first. My kids already know how I operate. They already know how to operate. It's like grades is a must. And most of them all, except for my youngest one, he has a little trouble in math right now. Gets that from my wife. But I was sharp in math. I blame her for it all the time. She's sharp in English, though, and I wasn't good at English. But as you could tell, right? I'm just joking with you. But the thing about it is they both basically they have to make the honor all the time. A's and B's. If you get a C, you're on punishment in my household. C means that you ain't trying. C means that you're just doing what you're doing. Because I know my kids. I know every kid today. Ain't one kid today that can't get A's and B's if they don't want to.
That's right.
And I show my kids what I always preach to my kids. I talk to them about work ethic because Anson knows what I'm talking about. Adler and Ariana does. Because I told them time and time again, I go, listen to me. They used to show up, my son Anson, before he won the championship, he used to show up and goes, why can't I win, Dad? He gets mad in the racetrack, get mad, start throwing fits. I said, no, son, we don't do that. We don't do that. And he goes, why, Dad? I said, because if you put the work in, you won't be mad at yourself. Well, what you mean? I said, come home with me. This next week, we're going to work every day. So what you mean we're going to work? So I had him working out, and then he's working out with me. Then I had him actually practice the practice tree. And he hit the practice tree. I had him make it do it 100 times a day. And you go do 10 at a time. 10 at a time, you got to do it 10 times a day. We got back to our next race. He went from losing second round till he got runner-up that next race. Went back to work again. Started learning how to drive the finish line, doing all the stuff that you're supposed to do. Then in the second race, after that, he won. And he looked at me. He goes, I understand now, Dad. I said, son, I always told you, you got to put the work in Monday through Thursday. And the only thing you do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the racetrack is showcase the work that you put in. That's it. It's plain and simple. It ain't no magic. You got to put the work in. If you put the work in, the results will come.
Sounds to me like there could be a couple more world champions in your house.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. They're on the 1830 plan in my house, Don. 1830. That means when they turn 18, they got 30 days to get out. 30 days. 30 days. Are they going to bring a paycheck on? They're going to pay some rent. I'm just joking, but but they're going to go to school or a trade school. I don't care if they go to college. They don't have to go to college. They can, as long as they go somewhere, they're going to go do a trade school or college. But when they go, they're going to know what they want to go for. And right now, the funniest part is my daughter, she thinks she wants to be a chiropractor, so she's actually doing job shadow at a chiropractor place right now. I got hooked up. The chiropractor I go to, I said, my daughter wants to come work here for free. And the chiropractor said, free? He was like, I'm all about that. She said she come any day she want. Right? So my daughter goes over there. She's job shadowing so she can learn if that's what she really wants to do. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get my kids out there where they can experience different things and open their mind. And once they go in, I'm paying for college once. Not twice. And if they come off the train track, they're going to pay for it themselves. That means if they switch their major, they're going to pay for it themselves. I give them one shot. I said, so do the research, prepare, and do it one time. Because I got 3 of them jokers. It ain't like I got 1. I got 3. I got 3 strikes.
Seems like another couple championships are in order here.
I've been working on it.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
Trust me.
I'm sure you have. What's it like driving for Don Schumacher at Schumacher Racing? I mean, you've got some of your toughest competitors are in your shop with you.
You're not lying. You are not lying about that. But
you got Mike Lewis to keep everything calm.
Mike Lewis is as good as they come. You know what I mean? Mike Lewis, our VP of operations. I've been around Mike for a long time, and me and Mike go way back. My very first professional race, he gave me my first interview. Mike Lewis. He was writing for National Dragster back then.
Yeah.
And he's just a great individual. But being at Don Schumacher and Don Schumacher himself, That man expects nothing but excellence all the time, and he's a no excuse boss. Like, it's so funny for me because I work hard at what I do, so I'm very fortunate where he never comes down on me. He never goes, Antron, what you doing wrong? What you got going on? He don't bother me because he knows how I work, right? But some of them other drivers, oh man, where they show up and they mess up, Don comes over there. He's like, Jesus. He goes, all you got to do is press the gas on time, keep it straight, and hit the parachute. You can't do one of those? That's what he tells them all the time. He says stuff. Don says stuff like that all the time. He puts it in simple perspective. And I'm looking, I'm like, man. And I mean, Don is cutthroat. And I tell people this all the time. I said, he's your biggest cheerleader. But when things go wrong, he doesn't make that situation better. He's going to tell you, you need to step your game up. You know what I mean? Don't come to him for a pity party. He's not a pity person. He goes, I work hard. I give all my teams the tools, the funding, and anything they need to get it done. Let's put our heads down and get it done. If you mess up, just say you mess up. Don't make an excuse. You know, I tell my kids that all the time. Don't lie to me. Just tell me you messed up. Or tell me you did something wrong in school. We'll get over it. But don't lie to me. And I found out you lied to me. Oh, Lord, it's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad.
One thing I've noticed, as you commented, when Don Schumacher runs an operation, if you need something, get it.
Yes.
But don't get it just to spend the money. Get it because it's going to make you better.
No. He's not going to let. No, he's not for spending money foolishly. He's not about that. That's what makes him such a good businessman. It's just that we make probably 70% of all of our parts and pieces in house. Like, if you ever get a chance, I mean, when we run the U.S. Nationals over Labor Day weekend, that's like our big race here. I mean, that's our biggest race of the year is here in Indy. But if you ever get a chance, you got to come over to open house. We have an open house like the Friday before the race. And normally if you show up during work hours, there's usually people that let you take you for a little tour around the shop too. You know what I mean? So, but the coolest part, if you've never been and see it, it'll amaze you what we do in there. Like, I mean, we build our own engine blocks, our own cylinder heads. Like, we don't buy them from like Mopar or Toyota or Chevy. We actually make them in-house, but we use their development to help us develop them. Like, so Don he's pretty savvy about that because you want to build parts that are not going to break. If we build a part that looks like it's inferior, like it's questionable, we just scrap it. We don't run that part because we don't have to sell it. That's the difference.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am pleased to have you stop by again. It's been a few years since you've been here. You are a true ambassador and a gentleman for the sport. It's a pleasure to watch you work. It's a pleasure when the camera's on as you're getting ready to watch. You're intense. You're not there to say, tell somebody a joke. You're there for a job, and it takes you 4 seconds to do it. What always amazed me is guys and gals get out of the car after 4 seconds and are out of breath. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you out of breath?
I'm not out of breath.
No, I know that.
I'm just like you see me now. A lot of people see me get out of the car, and they'll laugh. They're like, you just went 330 miles an hour. You act like you just do this every day. I look at it and say, because I do. That's what I do. You know what? But no, some people get out of breath because I think some people just, I don't know. You got all different types of racers. You got people, right? You got some people that before you go down track, they got to like suck on like 10 Monster energy drinks to get all pumped up and jacked up, and they're like this. And then when they hit on the gas, they hold their breath. They don't breathe. They got the car like this, like this. And I'm like, I take a different approach. It's like when I get in the car, what I do is like at the blink of an eye, you can mess up. So what I do is I get in there and I kind of do the same kind of training in my regiment, like a shooter would. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you ever see like somebody that shoots a rifle or a marksman or just somebody just where you're up there and you literally just like a sniper, literally like you never pull the trigger unless you're exhaling. You never pull it when you're inhaling. You know what I mean? Certain tricks of the trade where your mind's totally blank, focused. You're not thinking about nothing. You got to blank it all out. So when you see that yellow light, my foot goes down. I don't tell it to go down. It just goes down. Because literally if you're thinking about it, it slows you down. And that's the longest thing to connect is from your mind to your foot. If it was a hand deal, like a clutch on a bike, oh, Lord, it'd be like game. That's what putting my throttle in my hand. Be messing them up for years. They won't even know what's happening. But the thing about it is like when you train yourself like that, and that's what I do. You know what I mean? But everybody does something different that makes what works for them. You know what I mean? Some people hum in the car. They'll sing a tune. They do. Oh, the bikes, I wish I could race all of them. If they let me, I'll race pro style car, motorcycle, and a funny car all on the same day.
Oh, now you're into a funny car. Okay.
I'll do that too.
You said you
I
were
don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta think about that. But I would. Honestly, I would because I really enjoy them too. I really do.
Look what it's done to John Force. He's goofy.
John Force just ain't right. He just ain't right. I mean, I don't care what you say or what you do. That joker definitely fell off the train tracks a long time ago. And let me tell you something. And they're just letting that old joker go, man, right now. But that's my boy. The funniest part is, me and John do so much things together. Like NHRA has us go pitch different things and do different things, do different TV shows. And the same two that does it all the time is John and myself. And when you get me and him together, oh Lord, have mercy. I had him speechless one time. You know what I told him? Oh yes, I did. I told him because he had his daughter Brittany with him, right? You know Brittany, his second daughter, the smallest one, the short one, right? Well, all of his daughters are gorgeous, are beautiful, right? So I'm sitting here, John's sitting next to me, and we're up there talking, and John's talking, so I gotta be quiet. So Antron, they go, Antron, what do you think about Brittany Force? And I said, man, let me tell you something about Brittany Force. I said, John, let me tell you something too. I said, if I wasn't married with 3 children, I said, shoot, her last name will be Brown right now. Right? Brittany turned all red in the face. She was blushing and everything else. John was like this. Kid, what you say? What you say? He goes, kid, you know, I've been across the world. I've been places that people have never seen. He said, I've been in alleyways people never knew I was in. He goes, shit, hell, I could be your father, kid. He said that to me. His wife was sitting right there. Lori was sitting right there. I looked around. I was like, John's like. And then I got the mic back. I said, hey, John, that's why my mom gets pissed off every time she see you on TV, isn't it? That's what I told him. You ain't been there paying them bills for the last 35 years, have you? I said, you got a lot of Christmas to make up for, too, Dad.
Oh, boy. And believe it or not, this man is a 3-time world champion.
Thank y'all.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Don.
Antron Brown.
All right. Good to
Thanks
see you,
for being
buddy.
here.
Anytime.
I'll call you
Thank
again.
y'all so much.
Now that you're not coaching, I'll call you again.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll be a while, but
It's all good.
he'll be back. My next guest is, you
Do
know,
it around the U.S. National.
well, if I can catch you, you had jockstrap on during then coaching. I couldn't get you here, but I will now. You'll be back. I'll get you. Okay. Antron Brown. My next guest is on her way up, so I will mention to you, if you haven't gotten your insurance or it's time to look for more insurance, do what I have interested a lot of people in doing. That's calling VP Insurance and talk to Mike Pardee. VP is located at 5004 West 16th Street in in Speedway with Brownsburg. He's from Brownsburg. If you're looking for your home, your car, or your commercial building, Mike can help you out. So give him a call, get a quote. You'll be surprised. You get better coverage for less money. The number is 317-248-0070. That's VP Insurance and Speedway, 317-248-0070. If you got a little group together and you'd like to take a tour of race shops, I got an idea for you. You can take a ride in the Grant King Shop limousine. They'll take you around. You get 6 to 8 people. He'll pick you up wherever you happen to be congregating, take the tour, and drop you off where you started. It's $75 a person, and it's well worth it. And the car is spectacular because Fluffy always cleans it before it goes out. She even polishes the tires. To check it out and put a group together, give them a call. The office number is 317-820-3959, or you can call Bill on his cell at 317, and I do this and he answers it sometimes, 317-371-0290. Well, here's something I got to get rid of. This is what I want you. And it's time to get some embroidery done. You need anything taken care of, whether it's shirts, hats, shoes, it doesn't matter. Just get it to Stitches, too. They're located in Gasoline Alley. You can give Fran a call. She'll love to talk to you and tell you what to do and how to get it there. Number is 317-271-3444. Sam Pierce Chevrolet. They're located up north in Daleville, and you could check them out. Take I-69 north to exit 234, go east 1 mile, and you'll see them. Sam always rates at the top of the list for customer satisfaction. When he sells you a car, he doesn't stand behind it, he stands alongside you. So give him a call, stop on up there, take a look. You will be happy you did. And if you are a vintage car fan, you've got to go to svra.com and subscribe to Vintage Racing Quarterly. It is an absolute top-of-the-line magazine. You'll find a lot of the cars that you saw running as a kid are back on the track again. So check it out, svra.com, and subscribe to the Vintage Racing Quarterly. And the first event for SVRA is the 2019 Bob Williams Heritage Cup and Driving School. It's February 15th to the 17th at Roebling Road Raceway in Bloomingdale, Georgia. If you're in the area, check it out. You'll love it. And if you're going to put together a 500 party, no time like the present to start, you're going to call Tony Meyer. She's got 25 years experience. She can help you do it. Give her a call. Her number is 317-515-7929. My next guest is a young lady that I met as she was just a young girl.
Young.
A young
You
girl.
just called me young.
Yes,
That's
I did.
Awesome.
And she was the PR director for Fred Treadway. Twedway Racing. She was phenomenal. She's always been very upfront. She went from Treadway Racing to working for the IndyCar Series, and she didn't have one job. She had about 15. And when she left there, they had to hire 5 people to replace her. That's not a joke. That's true. She started her own company with her partner, Gene Cottingham, and they had, I forgot the name of it. Grand Solutions. Yeah, Grand Solutions. It was right on Main Street in Speedway. They got taken up by LST, and she has been hired away from them by Indy Racing Experience. She is now the Vice President of Business Development and Marketing for the
Sounds
Experiential
fancy,
Event Group. Please welcome Ruthie Treadway.
Yeah, well, that works too. I worked for Fred
Ruthie
long
Forbes.
enough. I might as well be. Okay,
I
speaking
did that
of
on purpose.
I totally have a bone to pick with you because, this is the
what?
second time I have followed Antron Brown on this show.
Yes.
Which, of course, is so incredibly easy, right? Just like this is only Diet Coke. Right. Not so much. Oh, come on. Can't you organize my appearances better? You can keep this entire stack of paper organized, which I think is a hot mess.
It is a mess.
But you should have let me know. How do you follow Antron Brown? Come on. He's amazing.
Yes, you do. Yes, you can.
He's my warm-up act. That's a heck of a warm-up act.
When I mentioned last week that you were coming here, the response, you got an ovation.
That's because they know I'll heckle you.
No, they don't. Well, they do heckle me because they'd sue me, I'd leave. If I'd leave, they'd be happier than all get out.
Oh, and I was laughing because he said he's going off to work out. So I went and actually worked out before I came here. So those of you in the front row, don't breathe very deeply. I just came from Pilates. Okay, but he's all into fitness and managing his career and everything. And I don't know about you guys, but I went because I ate anything that was not nailed down between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day. Who's with me? Who did it?
Me?
And if it had sprinkles on it, I went back for seconds. I mean, come on. That's what holidays are for. He's all into fitness and management, and I'm just into preventative maintenance.
So, how is everything at EEG?
Ooh, crazy fest. He's laughing. He was just referring to Matt Hagan not being right, and he's 100% correct on that note. We've actually Matt's been helping us with some of our Dodge Hellcat programs and things like that and driving for us, and he nailed it. That man. Have you seen him? His neck is the size of my thighs. It's incredible. The dude is ripped. There's no body fat on that man. It's crazy town.
Is there supposed to be?
Have you seen Matt?
You
can bench press small cars. It's insane. Yeah. No, it's been, there's the old laughing joke about, off season. Well, there is no off season, those of you that are all into racing, obviously Chili Bowls this weekend. Who's going? Chili Bowl.
How many are going to be here? How many are coming in here?
Yeah.
Make your reservation tonight, the lady in pink.
Then there's the insanity that someone decided they needed to have a 24-hour race for the Rolex. Anybody going to Rolex? No? Yeah, I don't blame you, because at 3 o'clock in the morning, you ponder the meaning of life in the middle of that racetrack. Because there's nothing to do besides stare at this huge Ferris wheel they always put in the inside, kind of like Le Mans, and it's got all these flashing lights on it, and you find yourself staring at the flashing lights of the Ferris wheel, just thinking, what is the meaning of why I'm here at 3 a.m. in 25-degree weather? Yeah, it's nuts. But yeah, no, that's actually a really good race. If you have never been, I would highly recommend it. Obviously, don't be there at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Once.
But yeah, no, it's a great event. IMSA puts on an amazing program, and it's very cool to see. Obviously, a lot of the IndyCar drivers go down for that. In addition to all the rest of the really well-known sports car drivers, and it's an amazing program. It's a very, very cool race. Their pre-race activities are very cool. Just watching the camping and the people out that are that's a crazy town. Have you seen some of these setups?
Yes.
These people work all year to coordinate. All of them have the same matching flamingos all through turn one. It's insane. In the food, you walk by and you're like, oh, yeah, burgers and dogs. No, it's full-on hog roast. This is crazy town, what these people do. But no, it's totally worth it. I also recommend mooching on everybody's campsites.
Yes.
Go by and pretend that you're starving and destitute, and see if they'll cook for you. It's kind of awesome.
The first time I went there, I was there three races. And you're right, 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, what am I doing here?
Oh, it's nuts.
You're waiting for a pit stop. That's what you're doing here. Oh, okay. But you look up in the grandstand, there's nobody there.
No, but I will say the campers are still up and at 'em and still watching. Yeah, it's it's all for everybody who's kind of in the infield and the people that have been doing it. The people that have been to the 500 for 60, 70 years. Same thing.
Do you know what surprised me the most? I thought, well, it's dark, they'll slow down. Shh. That was a joke. I found out in a hurry.
No.
And then they got these people cooking. They got the fire. Now the smoke is all over the track. You got to work your way through that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then, of course, there's always, it's inevitable in Daytona it rains. So there's always the 3 o'clock in the morning rain. And usually something happens and you're stuck outside and then you get rained on and you look a drowned rat. And that's just kind of how.
All right. Now
and you get to look forward to 8, 9 more hours worth of racing. Yay! It's.
So obviously with this carrying on for that, somehow you're involved in that event.
Yes, I am. We actually we do a lot of work for Mazda. It's funny. EEG is one of those companies where you've seen us everywhere. You just had no idea it was us. We do a lot of white label for other agencies. So if you were down there, we're doing all of the ride and drive experiences from Mazda. We do a lot of work for major automotive brands. Fiat Chrysler is one of our biggest companies, so we do a little bit of everything. We're a tier 1 supplier, which means we work directly with them, and we do a lot for all of their brands. So Maserati, Alfa, Fiat, Jeep, Dodge, etc., Ram.
And you control a lot of this or organize
I try not to.
From right here.
Oh, I try not to. Yeah.
But you do it mostly from here.
What's nice about it is, so the correlation between EEG and IRE, just so everybody in here knows sort of the explanation, because it's very convoluted, and it took me a week of going through charts and graphs and arrows and explanations. So Scott, Jeff, and Joe, all of you know from the Indy Racing Experience program, they actually partnered into, EEG used to be the Richard Petty driving experience. How many have done that? Mm-hmm. Anybody done it? Yeah, hey, see? Awesome ladies over here. Familiar faces, hello. Happy New Year, how are you? So basically what happened was they sold off the experiential division, and Jeff and Joe and Scott became partners with 2 other partners in that particular company. So I work out of here, and I work out of the Dallara office, which is never dull. There's a lot of events and a lot of strange things we have going on in there, which is kind of fun. So it's never dull every day. But
including employees' cars vanishing from in front of the building.
Yeah, that was, Who lives in Speedway? How many people live in Speedway? That was a little weird. So keep an eye on your stuff. Keep an eye on the front of your house. That was odd. We just had a robbery in broad daylight, which was kind of odd.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, you do.
But yeah, so we do a little bit of everything. We work in the IndyCar paddock. We're actually building. We just got the contract to build Pirelli World Challenge's brand new hospitality unit. So I have to have that done in 36 days and ready to go in Austin, Texas, for their first race of the season. We do a lot. Obviously, IndyCar is a really good partner of ours. We do a lot with IndyCar. Excited about the new entitlement. That's going to be actually, I think, even though it's not really consumer facing, I think it's going to be a really cool business to business play. So I think that's going to be a good long-term relationship for them. I'm excited.
Did you listen to the explanation?
Yes.
Mark said, or was it Mark or Jay said that in a 2-hour race, they supply 50 million bits of information.
Yeah, the smart platform is very cool. And of course, I laugh because I say smart platform and I'm not. So you get to learn a lot about it. But what I think is going to be really cool about it is it's going to provide consumers, even though it's not a consumer-facing company, it's going to provide consumers, i.e. us, with so many more cool ways to watch and absorb and experience the sport that I think this is going to be a really, really awesome partnership. And I think it's going to provide a lot more interactivity for those of us, even if you can't be on site. The ways you can get your information and how you can get your information, I think, is going to be significant. And I think there's going to be some amazing technological improvements coming up. So I'm looking forward to it.
Now, I heard...
I like to geek out like that.
I heard from Mr. Jasek that since you have joined the corporation and taken over this event, you've increased the size of what you are started out with to where you are today.
Yeah, go big or go home. Come on, man. You got to step it up. No, it's learning curve with everything. Every time you start a new job, you got to figure out what you're doing and why you're doing it and what's the background behind it. But what's nice is I've been fortunate in that since I've been in the sport for so long. I think this is 26 years.
Yeah.
I'm so old.
Yeah, but you started at 10.
You just ignore that I just said that. Can you all just ignore that I just said that? You heard nothing. I did not say that. It's nice. There's so many really. I mean, as you all know, you're all race fans, and most of you have been to the racetrack. There's so many amazing people. I mean, there's just a lot of amazing people and a lot of amazing relationships you can build. And so it's been fun to kind of take what I've known from IndyCar, what I've learned from IndyCar, and what I've learned from my life at JMI and a few other places beforehand, and translate it into being able to help other people and help create solutions to client service issues or problems or build something new or unique or different. Or I'm not one of the. I don't sit well. There's a lot of you who know me here. You're totally laughing. Yeah, I don't. Nor do I shut up. So there's two problems there.
Well, at this point, that's good. I don't want you to shut up. They want me to shut up, not you. And among other things that you do, you help Gateway organize their bus trips.
Oh, I do. Yes. Who's going? Who's going to be on the bus this year? Rock on, party people.
She won the trips down there.
Who was on the rowdy bus last year on the way home? Who you were.
Well, yeah.
Who was on the
drunk?
Who was on the drunk bus?
On the what?
The drunk bus? There was a drunk bus.
Oh, I don't know.
Were any of you on the drunk bus? Were you on the drunk bus?
No, but I saw them when they showed up.
Oh, yeah. I got the phone call at like 2 o'clock in the morning on that one. Hey, we've got an uncontrollable bus. Good on you. I was actually proud for everybody that was having that good of a time. No, that's a good program. We actually, the first year, we only sold 2 buses. Last year, we had 3. We already got bus trip sales so far. Already on board, and we're already starting a lot of activation. We've got the St. Louis Auto Show coming up already, so that's going to be kind of fun. I'm hoping Mr. Ed Carpenter will be able to go to that for us. But no, that's an amazing event, and what's interesting is they have learned. Obviously, it's the last oval of the season, so it's all of our last chance to kind of do a quick huff over and check it out. But they have learned that over 50% of their audience for that race is from Indiana. So pretty big numbers, people. You guys are all awesome for supporting that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of race fans in St. Louis area, too.
Oh, yeah, there are. And vice versa. I also think we're going to try to expand on the open test. Anybody go to the open test in May this year? It was April. Got bumped to May. Thank you, weather. I think we're going to expand on that for the fans this year, and we're going to try to do a whole day of driver Q&As in between drivers being on track for the open test this year. So anybody who comes to the viewing mounds over in Turn 2, I think the Gateway is going to provide lunch. I think we're going to provide breakfast, and I think we're going to do all-day driver Q&As for all of you because we had such an amazing turnout last year. I think there were around 2,000 to 3,000 people. Granted, the weather was beautiful. I mean, it was stunning. But yeah, no, we'd love to see all of your smiling faces.
In Turn 2?
Yeah, it's always in the viewing mounds over in Turn 2. That's the open to the public area for the open test.
Okay.
Yes.
According to Chris,
just look for Don.
Yeah.
We'll make him the poster child.
Chris was here last week, and he told me that they've already sold 2 buses full, and I've got almost the third one.
Yes,
We
I'm guessing we'll probably be at 4 to 5 this year, probably.
And I had quite a few people that have emailed me and said, I listened to him, that's great, we're going to sign up.
Yep.
So hopefully they did.
Okay, random poll question. If we did a bus trip to Mid-Ohio, who would be in? Okay, that's like a 4-hour, that would be like a 5-hour bus ride.
Well, it's because you got to stop
Would your
and
butt
whiz.
still support this?
Only if you bring it.
I might be able to sway that. That's possible. Okay, all right, well, I'll see if Mr. Savory is in the mood to do that this year. But yeah, no, that's the biggest feedback we get is what are the places everybody would like to do it. But if there, are you buying? Because I'll be on your bus. I'll work on that. And if you have your own cooler, I'm sitting next to you. I'm yours.
Yeah, it'll be
So-
full. He's full too.
We'll have to make sure for that long of a bus ride there are bathrooms on the bus.
Yes, and last year you had the biggest complainer. You put him back in the back by the Johns. He complained that the bus was bumpy and he froze to death.
Yeah, but that was the hard part of sitting in the back of the bus.
I understand that.
Yeah, I know. Actually,
now-
but he signed up for this year, and
Oh,
he
he
signed
did.
up for the year before. So he might complain, but he's still on the bus every year.
He does complain. Now, back to EEG. What else do you do? I know you provide stunts for movies, have cars
we
for
do all
that.
kinds of things. So EEG stands for Experiential Events Group, not EEG. Although EEG, frankly, sounds better and it's easier to pronounce. So we do all kinds of weird things. So if has anybody who's been to Vegas? Yay, Vegas. So if you're bored, the next time you go out to Vegas, we have a division out in Las Vegas called 01 Group, and we will take you out in the middle of the desert, stick you in a Polaris Razor, and let you cause havoc and mayhem. So we do all kinds of group events, and oddly enough, that's where all of our military training takes place. So we also do a lot for the Navy SEALs. We actually have a bid in right now for the FBI and the CIA potentially. So we do a lot of, so you get airlifted or dropped into Afghanistan, right? What can you expect in terms of vehicles? What are you going to find if you have to do an emergency evac? What types of cars, what types of trucks are you going to find? Most of them are, obviously, manual transmissions. Well, as you all know, most of the kids in the military these days are so young, they don't know what a manual transmission is. Shocker. So we do a lot of adaptation in terms of, okay, what can you expect if you need to make a quick getaway? How can you hotwire a car? How can you start a car without a key? And then we also do a lot of training on armored vehicles. What happens when your truck, you lose second gear and you're, again, in the middle of a hot zone? What can you expect in terms of how to get out of that situation? How to get your car started from zero to into third gear if that's the only gear you have. We also do a lot of evasive driving. We do a lot of defensive driving maneuvers. Armored vehicles tend to be really heavy.
Yeah.
So a J-turn is very, very different in, a Dodge Hellcat than it is in an armored SUV for Secret Service, etc. So we do a lot of that kind of behind-the-scenes stuff out in Las Vegas, and that's a great team that does that. They're all amazing. And then we also do, again, we do a lot of work for Dodge and Fiat. Like if you go to an auto show, typically a lot of who went to Mecum this year, Indiana? Mecum? All the screaming cars about the parking lot for Dodge, that was all of our team. As a matter of fact, one of our lead drivers is Jimmy Kite.
Oh, yeah.
Which is totally awesome.
Yeah.
I got in the car and I was like, hey, I'm going to go do a thrill ride. Oh. Yeah, that was. But actually, he's great. He's amazing. He does a great drift program, so he's really cool. We do a lot of, for Ram trucks, if they do those, you see the programs where you've got the big, massive teeter-totters, you drive the truck up and then it teeter-totters, and we do design and build all those courses and execute all those kind of fan experiences. So, we do a little bit of everything. We also do hospitality units, obviously, for Early World Challenge. We design and build, manage, and execute that kind of thing. We do a lot of transportation services. So Boeing has a lot of flight simulators, big fancy flight simulators. So if we get a call from the Pentagon and they need to have a flight simulator dropped off for the day, it's all very clandestine. You roll your transporter in and you set it all up and then you vanish out of the corner of the mists and let them figure out what they're doing. But so we have to have a lot of security clearance. You would not pass.
I know. Good. I don't want to pass.
No, but it's kind of funny. Somebody always asks me what we do, and I always say, well, it's probably better to start with what we don't do. So
Doesn't take as long.
Yeah, true.
Now, something else that you should do, and I'm going to have a young lady come up and join us. You are, of course, aware that on Friday and Saturday is a memorabilia show at the Claremont Motel.
Yes, and I actually have. I'm actually cleaning up my closets. I'm doing the whole spring cleaning thing. I found so much signed Ari stuff. Weird, like the stuff that I didn't even know that I had. It's funny because I've been doing this for so long that I just pack rat everything, and I found so much stuff randomly in a closet somewhere, and it's a tragedy. It needs to be given to someone. Except for all my fires. He signed all of my fire suits, and I'm like, what am I? No one wants these.
Oh, yes,
First of
they
all,
do.
it looks like a child wore it. And then I'm like, what's the point?
Whose suit?
My suits. He signed all of my fire suits. I never understood that. It was a weird thing to do.
It wasn't. I think you're saying I got suit. I've got your suit. Wow.
We could probably have a memorabilia show ourselves.
I would be delighted to contribute.
I have got so much stuff too.
Joining us now is the young lady who is involved in this upcoming event.
Hi, bye.
Please welcome Tony Meyer.
Hi, Ruthie. Thanks, Don.
This is a lady that I said if you want to plan a big party for the 500 or for the air show or for the, what's that, NASCAR, I
Oh,
think comes here.
hands down.
She's the lady to talk to about helping you set
Thank you,
that up.
Don.
So what's going on this weekend? Come on, and what
So-
prompted it? Are you emptying your closet?
No.
Oh.
My business partner in crime, Marie Hall, and I, believe it or not, it's the 4th year. Time flies when you're having fun.
Are you?
We came up with this idea to have a memorabilia show during the month of January when everyone's getting ready and anxious for that racing season to start. So we're very pleased that this is our 4th year again, and it's been very successful. It's over at the Waterfront Hotel off of Crawfordsville Road there. And it will be this weekend on Friday evening from 5 to 8, and again on Saturday from 9 to 4. We have about 35 vendors, and it continues to grow each year. We're also pleased to have back the Race Chasers gathering on Saturday. That will be at 1 o'clock with Bob Jenkins. 1:30, he will start an interview with Charlie Patterson. And again, everybody that comes to that's certainly invited to come to our memorabilia show that will again go till 4 o'clock on Saturday. And admission is only $5, and if you come Friday, you also get in for free with your wristband on Saturday. So great deal, great time to have some camaraderie with your fellow racing fans and a way to kick off our 2019 season here in the racing capital of the world, Indianapolis, Indiana.
You
How
said
many
you-
here are race chasers?
How
Who's
many
a
go
race
to-
chaser?
Go to race chaser. Yeah, there's a number of.
I'm laughing. So I got a race chaser that lives next door to my parents, and it's totally awesome. He just rolls in randomly for happy hour, brings his own beer. It's the greatest thing ever. I'll roll in to just check on him and see how they're doing, and he's all totally set up with his beer, talking about race chaser functions. It is amazing. Everybody needs a race chaser in their life.
Okay. What got you into motorsports?
Oh gosh, I have that famous Hoosier gal story of listening to the Indy 500 in the backyard at my grandma and grandpa's house and waiting for my grandma to get home from the race to see what souvenir she brought us home. And one thing led to another. And if you would have told me when I was growing up that I would have worked at the 500 Festival for almost 30 years, I never would have believed you. But have been a Hoosier through and through and a race fan through and through, and kind of through South Side migration. I've ended up on the West Side. Once had hopes of retiring in Phoenix, Arizona, but I haven't really moved too much in the last 20 years. So I don't think that's going to happen. But
Oh, not yet. You're too young to retire. Good grief.
But love the town of Speedway, and it's racing, as Mario Andretti once said, has been very, very good to me.
What got you into motorsports? I meant to ask you that before. And
Oh,
you
that was
didn't stop.
so accidental. This is a travesty because I born and raised in Indiana, in Indianapolis actually, and my father was obviously was affiliated with the Indianapolis 500 years and years and years ago, but they brought me as a kid. I hated it. So I never did anything racing oriented, and I actually graduated with a radio production degree. And what was funny is I had a job interview about 4 weeks before I graduated, and it was a national radio network, and I got the job, and it was great. And I started it the month of May. I graduate obviously early May. I graduated in May, and I got this job, and it happened to be the Kmart IndyCar radio network, and I worked for Paul Page. And this is so awful. So the second week of Indianapolis, Sally Larvick, who was one of our main pit reporters, she had gotten ill. She'd had a cold, really, really bad cold, and so they handed me basically a microphone and said, okay, you need to go out and secure some interviews. And so they sent me out into the literally practically on my own with a camera and a few things. And the first driver is so awful. First driver, I was like, okay, so you're into racing. Why do you wear like the little sooty things? Totally, that was a question. Yeah, the second driver I talked to, I asked him some comment about, why the cars have wingy things to that general nature. And then the last driver was something to the effect of, why on earth would you want to go that fast? And the awful part of the whole thing was the first driver was Mario, the second driver was Emerson, and the last driver was Ari. And I don't think I have ever lived, for a while, at one point, Emerson would walk around and just go, wingy thing. Yeah, oh, bad, so bad. But it's, to your point, it's a passion. Once you get into it, and it's a lot about the people. The action's amazing, but for me, the majority of it is about people and meeting amazing people like Tony. How long have I known you?
Gosh.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah, seriously. So, that's the thing. You make
years.
these really, really long-standing, great relationships, and it's all about the people that come and support it and make the sport what it is today. So to me, it was very easy to catch the fever. And start to appreciate, what the sport's all about. I mostly focus on the business side because that's just the way my head works, and why all of you like it and why you come and what makes a difference to make you keep coming back. But again, there's so many amazing, special people.
How well did you get along with Ari when he was driving for Fred?
We got along great, and it's funny because I had Ari and Scott Goodyear at the same time, and you want to talk about night and day personalities. Have you ever seen the two of them together? So Scott is like he could be sitting right there. I will totally tell you this to his face, and he would appreciate this. He's the most anal retentive human being I have ever met in my life. Oh my word! But it's awesome. Like everything had to be in triplicate, like you would give him his schedule and write it all out, and he would give him 3 copies, and then he would, yes, on it, on target. Ari was always, yeah, could you tell me like 3 minutes before I'm on, and then I'll be there 10 minutes late. It was so night and day. But they got along great. So it was just the weirdest way to navigate how to figure out what each one of them like to do and how they like to operate. It was pretty funny. And don't ever have unpainted fingernails or chipped fingernails around Scott Goodyear. And if you do, or they're chipped, wave them in his face a lot. It drives him insane. You get free manicures out of it. It's wonderful. Highly recommend it.
What gave you two ladies, the idea to have a memorabilia show in January? I mean, everybody's sitting at home saying, shit, I just shoveled the sidewalk. Now we got to go there. Why January?
Well, it was kind of the replacement of the show that used to exist out at the, as I still call it, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Motel. It was there last, how many years ago? 5 years ago, 6 years ago? And it was kind of a void in the racing calendar. And again, everybody's kind of getting cabin fever and ready to get out and have some laughs and stories with their fellow racing buddies. It's been a while, and it just seemed like a good fit and a good replacement, again, on the racing calendar. And it has worked for us, and we're very pleased.
Thank you from closet cleaners everywhere. Thank you.
Do you get vendors calling you now and saying we'd like to attend your show, or you go out and knock on doors to get them, wake them up and say, it's time to start?
Well, we have a great group of returning vendors. I'll let you know that. But Marie just got a call 2 days ago, someone that had to be at our show, and we were able to accommodate them. So we continue to get new interest and new vendors, and we do have quite a few new vendors this year, which we're thrilled with. So it's a good mix of kind of the old school and then some new as well.
I hear, and this is only a rumor, so it's probably not right, but I understand that there's an attractive blonde sitting over there that will be sitting at the desk where IMS will have some things for purchase. Is that true? IMS
Museum will be there for their 3rd consecutive year, I believe, selling merchandise. Were you there all 4 years? So Marty's been instrumental in cleaning out the closets at IMS. So congratulations, and her hard work is a benefit to racing fans that get to experience and purchase that sort of once-in-a-lifetime memorabilia.
And of course, starting in May, there's going to be buku stuff with Mario's face. I don't know. He won a race, and now they're making a big thing about it. I don't understand. It's interesting what this race means around the world. It's unbelievable that even I used to work for an electrical contractor down in Florida, and he'd send me out. I was a superintendent for him, and he'd send me out somewhere to. We've never been able to get a job. You take a shot at it. And I come back with a contract. He said, how the hell did you do that? Start talking about racing. What's that got to do with anything? Nothing, but it got a contract signed. It's amazing the people that maybe not have been there, but they heard of it. They knew who the 500 was. They knew, do you know AJ Ford? Yeah. Do you know so-and-so? Yeah. Really? We start talking, he signed a contract. Unbelievable what this means to the sporting world. And I think, as been pointed out numerous times, that obviously right now IndyCar is on a rise. I think the promotions they did are phenomenal. I think you'll be impressed when you get to hear Mark Sibla next week. He is just a phenomenal guy.
Please harass him from me. He's one of my favorite people to bug. He's wonderful.
Oh, isn't he? He really
Oh,
is.
he's awesome. No, you really will. He's great. He's outstanding. You'll get a lot of really, really good information, and he's got a really great perspective on how to grow the sport. So
He's
you'll
doing
enjoy
well.
it.
I'll tell the story about him next week, how I first met him and what he did.
Oh.
Because back in your day, you know that if somebody went to the series and asked for a little help with a sponsor, sometimes they try to steal it.
Yep.
Well, he made that 90-degree turn right now.
Yeah.
Amazing guy. What's next for you? I mean, what project are you working on? Who are you trying to lasso?
Oh my goodness. Actually, I've got a lot of proposals in for a couple different things, which is nice. Large automotive brands. Travel-wise, I'm heading down to Rolex. I'll be down there for probably just a couple of days, kind of browsing and doing some meetings and coming home. And then racing season starts full on March. So once we get to March, it's, I always call it March Madness. It's crazy. It's everything just starts to launch and take off. So, 3 or 4 different racing series that we're involved with, a lot on the automotive side. So it's there's a lot on the plate. It's just trying to retain my sanity to get it all ready to go for.
How many events do you attend a year? And do you attend all IndyCar or just some here?
It depends. A couple years ago, I had to do the entire IMSA calendar, the entire IMSA Canadian calendar, and the IndyCar calendar, and so I did 37 events in 1 year. This year's a lot different in that we'll do more corporate events as well as a racing calendar. So I'm hoping to be less than 37, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well, if you do 30 racing, that means you could do 9 corporate events. And
yeah, I know. My cat is really hoping I'm going to be doing less than 37 events.
Your cat?
So, my cat. Come on.
Okay. Have you got a cat, Tony?
I do not.
You have a dog?
No.
Smart.
Yeah. See, cats are easy if you're in a racing program because they take care of themselves and they feed themselves. So you can go off and do your thing, and he manages himself.
Who cleans the box out while you're gone?
Well, he has multiples.
You start Friday at 5.
Correct.
5 to 8.
5 to 8 on Friday.
And if you go out Friday and just cruise around a little bit, get your wristband, pay your $5, you can come in Saturday, and your wristband is good for Saturday.
That is correct. And we're there from 9 to 4 on Saturday. Don't let the weather scare you away.
No,
We'll be
because
there
I
in
understand you made a
full
deal
force.
with the motel to make sure the parking lot's clear and the road getting there is clear, should it snow.
Absolutely.
You have it covered. What else goes on there? Do they have a restaurant there? I can't remember if they do or not.
They do. They have a bar that will be open Friday evening and also on Saturday serving some lunch menu items. So it's kind of a one-stop shop. Come in, do your
Bill?
shopping, stay for lunch,
Bill?
maybe have an adult beverage.
Don't take Fluffy. They got a bar.
Take another trip around the memorabilia show. It'll all be good. So thank you for having me, Don, and letting us talk about it here.
Have you
and-
any special guests coming besides Marty, I mean, and Marie, and you?
Like I said, our race chaser gathering on Saturday will be Bob Jenkins and Charlie Patterson.
And Bob will hang around.
And Bob will hang around. Bob's a great guy. And of course, we'll have some
stories.
It's funny. Was the last time I had him on. They said, "I've been told I should write a book." I said, you should write. When you got better stories than anyway. He said, I can't remember. And I can't either. Somebody will say, you remember that thing we did? It's yeah. But had they not said that, I would remember. And I've been coming here since 1964. I remember the thing that sticks in my mind is first time I got into the pit area, and Bobby Unser won the pole, and I handed him a $100,000 check. That I remember getting in. First, I remember how I got in, how I hoodwinked my way into it. But it's a great sport, great people like yourself that really make it click. And I still get amazed when I do go to an event and you're there, how you're still flitting around like you used to be, getting things organized and making.
I don't flit anymore. I'm a little slower. Is there a speed slower than flitting? Somebody can come up with a word for something a little less than flitting. That's me.
Stumbling. I mean, I do.
Sauntering.
Sauntering around. There you go. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for your time. I know you're busy. And I will say
here.
one thing. When I do contact her and ask her questions, she does answer rather quickly, usually.
Oh,
thank you very much.
Isn't that
awesome?
Thank
you.
I'm proud of you for not stealing it, but I totally appreciate it if you would. I get it. I totally get it. It's a good one. The men in here are all jealous right now of the handbag envy. I can
Of
feel
course.
it.
Bill's been eyeing it, too. I'm not sure why, but thank you for your time. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Always glad to see all of these wonderful faces. I mean, it's great because it's always the return of friendlies. I always see some new faces, which is awesome. So kudos to all, cheers to all of you for supporting the Don K Show. Greatly appreciate it.
And a number of our
How
people
many years is this now?
I've been here almost 30.
Too many. That was good.
No, I don't.
Wow.
I've been here longer than that. I've been here for
Yeah.
24 and a half.
Wow. That's a long time.
I started here in 1995, I think.
Is anybody here from 1995? Anyone? Oh, that is
most of them weren't born then.
Yeah. I'm totally buying you drinks. That is
You
fantastic. Yes, I totally will. That's amazing.
Wow. Thank you for your time. Tony, it's always a pleasure to see you, not only talk to you, but to see you as well.
Thank you, Mr. K.
I thought my dad was behind me.
Is that your dad?
And so that the smart aleck at the bar realizes I am a Sox fan. Now, before we leave, I want to make sure that you are aware that the Hoosier Thunder Indiana Sprint Short Track Heritage is still on display at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. It will be there until May or April, I guess, when the new kid in town shows up with some cars he used to drive or something, I don't know. And they'll probably show his face on the Borg Warner Trophy and other things. So until then, get out there and see it's a great display of the short track cars that have made Indianapolis and Indiana what it is in the short track world. And don't forget the 26th, go over to the Grant King Shops, 8155 Crawfordsville Road. The interviewee will be Donald Davidson. And the big trick is to say, what can he remember? So get there and see. You'll have food. Part of it, the $25 admission, you get food. And then with any luck, Bill's mom will make the cookies, which is what I go for. And, of course, there'll be a McGilvery's cash bar, so stop on in. Thank you for being here. Always a pleasure to see you. Always a pleasure to see you, young lady. You've been disappeared for a while. I've called you several times. You don't answer me, but I don't blame you. Most people don't. So she does, though.
I'll
Thanks
get
for
better at
coming.
that.
Yeah, sure.
You know where to find me. That's my
Yes,
problem.
I know. Because when I didn't know, Scott told me.
I know.
He said, "Here's the number." Oh, jeez. Anyway, thanks for being here. Remember, next week I've got several guests lined working on. Mark Siblett now has been promoted to the overall chief of staff for IndyCar, and this kid is phenomenal. You'll love listening to him. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for Antron being here. Great guy.
Very. Loves me some Antron.
Yes, he's a great guy.
How can you not?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Ruthie,
preciousness.
Tony, till next week, Don K saying thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Let's see you next week. Good night.